So radio, you've got to love it. I've been involved in the radio industry in one shape or form for the last 15 years, and radio has been at the heart of our communities for the past 100 years. But what does it take to start a radio station for your local community? How can you do it? And why has there been a resurgence in community radio over the recent past sort of 5-10 years? So today I'm going to talk about the history of community radio and also give you some examples of radio stations that are doing phenomenally well in the local community. If you're thinking about starting a radio station for your local community, watch this video because I'm going to teach you exactly how you can do that. So around 100 years ago was when we first saw the first ever BBC broadcast here in the UK, actually in October 1922, so nearly 100 years ago. And since then, obviously, the radio landscape all over the world has changed drastically. In the sort of 70s and 80s, we saw pirate radio come along, and then in the 80s and 90s, we saw big commercialization of radio stations and lots of commercial radio stations springing up in local areas to support communities and to bring localized radio to areas, which brings with it knowledge from the DJs about what's going on in the local area. It brings with it different styles of music to suit that town or that city. It brings with it weather, news reporting on what's going on right now in the local area. The thing is, over the past 10 years, since probably 2010, maybe the mid-2000s, there's been a big shift because lots of these independent local radio stations that sprung up in the sort of 80s and 90s have now been taken over by much larger radio groups. I'm talking about along the likes of iHeartMedia over in the USA, or Global and Bauer here in the UK and also throughout Europe. And I think it's a great shame because lots of towns and cities have lost that localized content and it's been replaced by centralized content which is then being broadcast or simulcast to all of these radio stations. So what's happening now? People are taking back the power from these big corporations, from people who have decided to take away our community radio stations for nationalized, centralized output. And people are bringing back localized radio which serves the local community. It serves people from specific communities or diverse backgrounds. It serves people who have got individual music tastes. And today I wanted to give you some great examples of how you can start your own radio station which serves your community or serves a specific type of music that you like. Some of our clients that are doing phenomenally well working in niche areas, and also talk about how you can actually establish your own local radio station using the radio.co platform. So if all that sounds good, let's dive into a little quick presentation that I've made.
No Signal. No Signal was started during the first lockdown of 2020. It is a self-defined black radio station and has grown a large following in the short time that it has been on air. Its flagship show, NS10v10, where two rival DJs or artists go head-to-head with a back catalogue of two musicians, is well worth a listen. Foundation.fm. Foundation.fm is a female-led radio station located under a multiplex cinema in London. With an uprising in the industry of communities trying to find safe spaces to play, create and grow, Foundation FM's mission is to showcase the hottest emerging talent in the underground music scene, led by a diverse group of women, LGBTQ+ persons and talented creatives who support our values, with women at the forefront. The station was founded by Becky Richardson, Amy Bennett and Frankie Wells, and is live on air from 10 AM to 10 PM every single day. Soho Radio. From its grassroots founding in 2014, Soho Radio has grown to be an influential voice and amplifier for music and culture, bringing together people from Soho, London and globally. They broadcast 250 shows a month, live from Soho and from New York to the world, featuring two channels, Soho and NYC Plus Culture. They were awarded Best Online Radio Station in the Mixcloud Online Radio Awards 2016 and feature no-play playlists, allowing the presenters to complete uninterrupted freedom to broadcast whatever they feel. Boogaloo Radio. Boogaloo Radio is the first ever online radio station to broadcast 24 hours a day from a pub. 2018 saw the launch of Boogaloo and is now considered as one of the best online radio stations, voted by The Times in 2019. The roster spans from Carl Barrett of The Libertine, Starsky and Hutch's David Soul, Radiohead producer John Leckie, The Fools, Brick Smith, star to producer Bernard Butler and label boss Alan McGee. They also champion the new wave of tastemakers with shows from Sports Team and When Young. Guests have included Run DMC, Bananarama, Talk Show, Placebo and LaRue. Melodic Distractio. First broadcasting in January 2017, Melodic Distractio is an independent internet radio station amplifying the sounds of the Northwest. Home to over 150 shows coming from the heart of Liverpool. There's a wide array of styles and music and hosts, and there's bound to be a show for everyone.
Perhaps as a listener that you feel like you want to bring local radio back to your area, you want to bring community radio back. I want to know what you think about the situation. Please put in the comments below, what do you think about the acquisitions that the big global corporations have made along the lines of iHeartMedia, Global, Bauer? They've swallowed up all these radio stations, they've centralised the output. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing for the radio industry? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you're thinking about launching a community radio station, or perhaps you've recently established one, I'd love to know about it. Again, put it in the comments below. Finally, if you're thinking about establishing a community radio station, I've got a great way to get started. Not only does radio.co make it super simple to get set up, I've actually got a free download which you can grab at jamesm.com/radio. It's my 5-step radio startup checklist. It's indispensable if you're thinking about launching your own radio station. So go and check that out. Here's how you can go and get your free copy.
What makes the difference between a successful radio station and a failed project? Well, after working with tens of thousands of broadcasters over the past 15 years and helping lots of people start their own radio stations, I see the same mistakes being made time and time again. So what I've done is I've put together a guide called the 5-step radio startup checklist, which really covers everything from concepting your radio station to marketing it. And this guide, I believe, will make the difference between you having a successful venture with longevity and creating something that doesn't quite hit the mark. Go and grab your copy now for free at jamesm.com/radio. Just enter your name and your email address and I'll send it over to you straight away. You're going to find it really useful. There's tons of information there which will help you with concepting and launching your brand and bringing it to market.